Welcome. That's kind of whack. Welcome back to another episode of the MECCA podcast. I'm Mark Williams, and to my immediate right, your left, I have somebody that's very near and dear to my heart, only because he bust my ass a couple times in the park and then also in the gym. He's an assistant coach with the Milwaukee Bucks, probably the favorite in the Eastern Conference to make it back to the finals now that Kawhi's out. Because he got you guys a little bit. He got you a little bit.
Still trying to get over that.
But we have Charles Lee, man. I appreciate you, and he's, like I said, he's an assistant coach with the Milwaukee Bucks. But prior to that, he was a coach on the collegiate level. He's going to talk to you about that, his time in D.C., growing up as a youth, and then his time in New York City and how to get into the coaching ranks, particularly for somebody who wants to do it from the basketball standpoint. I appreciate it, man.
Dude, it's so nice to come on the show.
Yeah.
And like you said at the beginning, I did used to bust his ass.
That's the truth. But I competed though. I said,
you did do that.
I
You
competed
did do that.
and I fouled, so I'm good at fouling.
You don't remember that Saturday morning run though?
Oh, of course I do.
Yes.
That was the best shit.
No, there were some days that I come in there. Exactly. I was feeling myself.
He's like, yeah, I got next. I'm good. You. But anyway, tell us a little bit about who you are. I know that you grew up in Maryland. How was that experience growing up in Maryland, the DMV, and how that made you the player that you became? Because you were probably a pretty good player on the Patriot level.
Well, for sure. Well, the great thing about the DMV is that it's probably one of the top regions, areas, however you want to, specify it for basketball,
right?
Especially at the collegiate or the youth level. So I had an opportunity to play against some high-level guys that end up going to play at major Division I schools, that are going to play in the NBA, that are going overseas. So to have an opportunity to go up against some high-level competition on a night-to-night basis was great for me. Yeah. And then even at the high school, being at Good Counsel my first year as a freshman, and I'll never forget, Good Counsel themselves had a squad. Roger Mason was on the team, Joe Truey, AJ Harris, like a bunch of guys that wanted to go play Division I basketball. Roger obviously going to play with the Spurs and having a great run in the NBA. And then they're going up against DeMatha that had Keith Bogans and Joe Forte, and year after year they were just turning,
right?
And they were just turning over lots of talent. So growing up in that area, I got to watch the Maryland teams with Steve Francis, the Allen Iverson teams at Georgetown, and I guess I'm kind of dating myself a little bit, but getting to see.
But Virginia was good too in that area.
Virginia was good, and they were building stuff. Donald Hand and all those guys. So I got to watch a lot of good hoops, and it really brought out this passion in me that I just wanted to keep getting better. And there were a lot of outlets to go get better.
Were you highly recruited? Because the names that you mentioned were names in that area, and were you recruited just as heavily as those guys were?
No, nowhere close.
Not Keith.
No, definitely not. But my recruitment was good. I wouldn't change a thing about it. I kind of liked the level at which it was, and it helped me kind of grow as a person and as a player. And to have that opportunity to play in the Patriot League, which was like really good competition, and then you also had the academic side of it. And now it's cool to see as a Patriot League alum, the talent that's coming out of there.
Right.
Like C.J. McCollum at Lehigh, Mike Muscala, who's about to get his jersey retired in a month, is playing with the OKC Thunder now.
Wasn't he with Atlanta?
Yes, he was in Atlanta.
Right.
He was with the Lakers. He was in Philly for a little bit. So that league is now, I like to think some of it has to do with the fact of like my Bucknell team that beat Kansas.
Yeah, that was a good team.
Kind of put us on the stage, and so the talent that they were able to get in that league is getting better.
How did you, speaking of Bucknell, how did you end up there?
Close to home. Like Pat Flannery was the head coach there. I have a cousin that had a relationship with Bucknell that kind of put me in touch with them, and then like Pat Flannery and his staff did such a good job recruiting me, and then like it was close to home. It had the academics. It had an opportunity to play potentially one day in the NCAA tournament.
And you did.
Yeah, twice.
I
got to play there twice.
Your junior, senior year, correct?
Senior year.
Which was the years that you got Player of the Year.
Yeah, so my senior Player of the Year.
Player of the Year, right?
Always going up against, you probably remember this name, Kevin Hamilton.
Of course.
Yeah, New York. We had battles.
Kev Holy Cross. I just sat down with Kev maybe like a month and a half ago.
Okay.
Kev is my man. I trained his team. His Eagle. He's a high school coach now.
Oh, yeah. So actually, it's Small world. We allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah, small world. My wife's best friend is a mentor, a counselor at the school that he's a high school coach at. So we were just talking about him around Christmas time, too.
Eagle Academy in the Bronx.
Yes.
In Brooklyn.
Yes.
Oh, that's not a pub for you guys. But Kevin's not, actually, you guys' style is very similar.
Yeah, for sure.
Shoot
I
the
would
thing
say
out,
he's
but-
a little like silky smooth.
Yeah, you got that New York. You got that New York. You got that New
He's
York.
kind of
Got that
silky
New York.
smooth and.
But you both could shoot the ball and played hard.
Exactly. Played both ends of the court.
Yep, played
and
hard.
like pretty good basketball IQ, I would say, both of us.
Well, you went to Bucknell and Holy Cross.
Yeah.
So.
It's a given, right?
Pretty good schools academically and IQ wise. So you from Bucknell, you then transition to now when you graduate, you move that tassel over. What's next?
What's next is overseas basketball. I actually had a cup of coffee though with the Spurs right after I got out of Bucknell. Played summer league.
Venti or Grande?
I would actually maybe say Grande. I didn't quite get that Venti because that Venti would actually have had me in a couple of regular season
You'd have
games.
been there, uniform, sweated, everything.
Yes. But I went to training camp with them, and actually that year they won a championship. So
Oh, you just needed like 10 days, 20 days.
it.
You got a ring.
I still joke with Coach Bud because he was on the staff at that point. I was like, "You think I'll ever get a ring?" Or
Nah, bro, it's
Nah.
over. That shit is going.
It is going.
So being that you came, you did the overseas stuff. You
Yeah, played overseas for 4 years, Israel, Belgium, and 2 years in Germany, on 2 separate teams.
Germany had a lot of Americans on their teams.
Yes, it was like unlimited when I was there at that point.
Like, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Most countries were 2 American or imports.
Exactly.
Germany had like 4, 5.
Yeah, and which made the league, I felt like from top to bottom, super competitive. Because you did have so many Americans, there was no stipulation of how many Americans could be on the court at one time.
Yeah, I know. In some countries, like your turn.
Yes.
The tag.
Yeah.
Your turn. Yeah.
Like in Israel, you can only have to have 3 domestic players on the court at one time.
Really?
Yeah, or 2.
Two.
You can only have 3 Americans on the court at one time.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I respect that from the country
For
standpoint.
sure.
I want my people.
They gotta get their people out there as well.
Did you run across any Americans other than Kev? Hamilton?
Oh, plenty. Rich Melzer. I'm trying to think of some of the other guys that were on other teams. Oh, Ricky Paulding, Jason Gardner. They were killing it in Germany when I was there at that point on Oldenburg. Those were the ones that like come to my mind, right? Casey Jacobson was playing over in
Stanford?
Yeah, from Stanford, the shooter.
Mm-hmm.
He was playing in Bamberg. So the league was like really good.
Oh, that's good. That's dope. And then, let me ask you this. What made you think, did you think about coaching at that particular time?
I did. So after I stopped, I kind of wanted to coach. But you know how it is, like life and what's going on.
Yeah.
I had a girlfriend at the time and ended up actually proposing to her my last year in Germany. So at this point now, fiance. And we just had some things going on family-wise. We had been living apart. And I was like, let me settle down a little bit. Because coaching, you're on the road and you're game planning and it's a lot.
A lot.
So I did the 9-to-5 thing, worked on Wall Street for 2 years. And after that, I was like, babe, I gotta get back to my passion.
Yeah.
Like, I need that hoop.
This is good money.
Yes.
But I got to get back to basketball. So you're in New York now. You're hooping in various tournaments and stuff like that.
Yeah. Killing you.
Compare DMV basketball at that time, from what you can recall, to New York City basketball during that era.
Oof.
We was nice back then.
No,
our streetball game was nice.
And like I gotta say too, especially when it came to the pro-am style basketball.
Oh, yeah.
DC's got the Kenner League, which is at Georgetown. Maybe like too much college influence because like I remember playing in the Nike Pro City here. Big professional influence of like the players that are gonna play in there. Ryan Gomes and what's my man's name?
What school?
Andre Barrett. Like,
so that's Gold's Gym. That's what they had.
Yes.
Dre Barris, Yanni Gaines. They had Vernon Goodrich. They had John Strickland. God bless his dad. We had who else they had? They was loaded. They was like Mark McCarroll.
Yes.
Mark McCarroll.
Yes.
And then they had another team called Nike One that was doing extremely well.
Was that Mike Campbell's team?
He was X-Men, but Mike
He was
Campbell.
X-Men, yeah.
And then, but your team was, you guys were loaded too, though.
Oh yeah, Brian Dunstan and
loaded too.
Who's the lefty?
You had Nate Brown.
Nate Brown.
Lefty.
Nasty Nate. Remember we had the big guy for a little bit. I think he played at UMass. Oh, that's gonna kill me.
That's gonna kill me too.
It'll come back to us, but
we'll hit some people up there.
But yeah, it depends on what you're looking for. Like, cause I do think that New York run at that time, especially from the pro side and where I was in life and game,
it was different.
Yeah, I might give it a slight little edge.
Yeah, okay.
But I still love DC and the DMV.
And we appreciate that you giving us love here in New York. So here's my question, another question. The DMV area, what do they think of New York City basketball?
Oh, a lot of love and respect
Really?
for like the people, the legends that have come out of New York City basketball and the style that it created within basketball too, of like having a little bit of crossover and flair,
right.
and then having that grit to you as a New York City guard. You might not have the basketball IQ or the shooting part, like a lot of the skill stuff, but like when it just came to just natural raw talent and ability to handle the ball, that's where it is.
I'd agree with that. And we just had to hone those skills
for sure
to get them better.
Yeah, there ain't no finesse there. Like we're gonna run through this wall.
That's what it is.
Where like DMV, like we got some shit to us, but we might figure out how to walk around the wall too.
Yeah, like I'm going around the wall. No problems. So now you're thinking about coaching. You're back in New York City, or you're back in New York City.
Yep.
How did you get the call to go back to your alma mater?
So I've reached out to the head coach that it was currently at Bucknell, just looking for some help, some direction. And I remember hitting up Coach Flannery that coached me at Bucknell. He said, Charles, if you want to get into coaching, you need to hit up every person that recruited you, that talked to you, that ran a coaching clinic, anything. You hit them up. Hopefully they remember you. Hopefully they remember what you did in high school or in college or what you did overseas. And so anyway, I've reached out to almost everybody. And it's funny how the people that you think are going to hit you back and respond and help you, nowhere to be found.
Really?
Nowhere to be found. Oh, bro, what's up, man? Yo, you want to get in? You and that dude? Hit me up next week.
You hit him up next week?
Hit him up, nothing.
That's that Varnell Hill talk. Or Martin.
From the talk show, Varnell Hill. Yeah, I love me some Martin. But Coach Paulson, that was at Bucknell, he was one of those people that was like kind enough, gracious enough to respond back to me and help connect me with some other people. And it's truly a blessing how it all worked out. Coach Paulson had somebody on his staff, an African-American assistant coach too, that was going to be leaving to take another position. So he was like, Charles, I know I've hooked you up here, there, and everywhere, but will you come in and interview here at Bucknell? I have a position that just opened up. Went and did it, and it was like a no-brainer for me.
Right.
Like your first head coaching job where you can go back to your alma mater that gave you the opportunity to even be kind of where you are now, and you're comfortable, and they had a good team. It was like a no-brainer.
Yeah, I remember I seen you on Twitter. You got the nod to get the job.
Yeah.
I was like, Dave Paulson, St. Lawrence. Oh my God.
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
Dave, how did you end up here? But that's good that
he's been grinding. Williams, St. Lawrence. I feel like he had one more stop too. Lemoyne, yes.
He did St. Lawrence, Lemoyne, Williams. He won like 14 national championships.
Close to the national championship. Yeah. I think won it 1 year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Williams.
Williams.
Williams. Because they always beat Amherst in the finals.
I think that sounds about right.
Yeah. So now you're at college.
Loving college.
Loving it.
Loving college, loving dealing with the kids, and I'm not even thinking about NBA.
Really?
When I got into it, all I did was just hit everybody up about like, hey, I want to be a college coach. I thought that I could have the most influence on those. I was gonna have more of an impact. Right. I was just looking forward to being in that space. Like you watch the games and the energy in there. And Coach Bud, I guess maybe to backtrack a little bit, when I wanted to get into college, he was one of the people that I reached out to.
Now, how'd you know him? Oh, from San Antonio Spurs.
From San Antonio, going to training camp, and he coached the summer league team, and he worked with me a ton as a player on like player development stuff. So when I wanted to get into coaching, I was like, hey, Coach Bud, thanks for reaching back out to me. I really appreciate it. Can you help connect me with some college coaches? And he's like, Charles, I've been in coaching for a while, but I've been in the league only. Right. So like that's where my connection is going to be. So if you want to use me as a reference on your resume, do that, and I'll keep an ear out for you. I was like, thanks, appreciate it. And
you immediately typed his name, whatever.
Immediately, he went from not on the list, probably,
like you are number
to like
one.
number one. And 2 years later, he has 2 openings on his staff because Quinn Snyder takes the head job in Utah, and another guy on his staff, Jim Thomas, ends up taking like a scouting role within the Hawks organization. He's like, Charles, you want to come down and interview?
What you mean? Yeah.
What? Chance to be an NBA assistant coach? Sure.
Right.
So I go interview, and kind of the rest is history after that. But went through the whole process, weighed my options, what side do I, and because of like knowing Coach Bud and his vision and how he kind of saw things for the team, and then also just for my own career, I thought it was like.
What kind of questions do they ask? Like I've never been in an NBA interview.
Yeah.
But what kind of questions are asked from the interview? Is it a panel or is it just one?
So the process was interesting. The first night I got in for the interview, he and I did dinner, and I think everybody's read about the ESPN pop articles and all that stuff now, and. Part of building a culture is like we got to sit down, we got to be able to break bread, we got to have a glass of wine and talk basketball, talk life, and just have this like good human conversation, synergy. But I think it gets overlooked sometimes because everybody thinks it's just about winning games and the next practice and this, but that's part of building the culture. And so the first night, I had dinner with him, and it was like one of those things where it's. Let's feel it out. Like, can I sit down? Can I break bread with you? Can we drink wine? Can we eat food and enjoy it? Enjoy each other's company. That was great. Next night, actually, because Bud is so big into player development, he had me do a workout for 2 players, and I didn't know who they were going to be.
So hold on. Had you obviously on the collegiate level, you had to work players out on a day-to-day basis, right?
Yes.
So you didn't know what you were jumping into.
Nah, because especially. In preparation for the interview, I watched some of the Atlanta games, try to figure out how they play. But like, do I really know what's going on that team?
Right.
I'm not very well versed. I've only been coaching for 2 years at this point, and 2 years in college basketball at that.
And a college workout is way different than an NBA workout.
Yes.
Way different. Okay.
But the way that he kind of helped me, and just to kind of even the playing field. He said, Charles, I understand where you're coming from, your background. You haven't done this, so run this like it's a college workout.
Okay.
So like you don't have to worry about trying to use my terminology for things, or just stay in your kind of comfort level. And at that point, you should have saw that this huge weight was lifted from my back, even though I had puddles of sweat on my
workout.
back. Yeah, because like do a workout in front of the GM, in front of the head coach. And obviously, in front of other front office people, other assistant coaches were there too. So did that, and then after that, I had to sit down. And some of the questions that you get from the GM and from the head coach is like, what kind of coach do you see yourself as? Little questions to just figure out how prepared were you to just come to this interview in general. Do you know how we play? Do you know some of the roster situations, some of the contract situations with the players that we have on the team? And from that point, then I sat down with each assistant coach and was able to kind of pick their brain on, hey, how you like working with Coach Bud?
So now you're interviewing them to a certain extent.
Yes. How you like working with Coach Bud? What's your day look like on a non-game day? What's it look like on a game day? What are your responsibilities? Just give me the whole scoop.
Yep.
Because I am green.
Yep.
No idea. No. I remember it as a player, but as a player, I was only in summer league and training camp. So it's different. It's different. So please tell me what this grind's gonna look like.
And they helped you.
And they were tremendous. Darvin Ham, Taylor Jenkins, Kenny Atkinson. They were the guys on the staff. Nevin Spahia actually ended up coming the same year as me, but he was an older coach from overseas, and he was able to like be a great mentor too.
Yeah. Because they have this is a different style of basketball.
It is.
Completely different.
It is, but that mentality of like what it takes to learn and to grow and to be open as a coach, like really, each one of those assistants does it differently, but they all had good advice to help you kind of like open your mind to see the game in the best light possible.
And pick their brains from a different perspective.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So now, that's Atlanta. You guys did Wow, the first year, didn't he get like Coach of the Year?
So the year before I got there, they almost upset Indiana in the first round of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Took them to Game 7. I believe they were up. I believe Atlanta was up 3-2.
Who's the guard for Atlanta?
Jeff Teague.
Okay. Yep.
Jeff Teague's the lead guard. They had Perrill, they had Paul Millsap, they had Al Horford, Kyle Korver, DeMar Carroll. Like, great squad.
Yeah, a lot of hard-nosed guys.
Yes. Almost beat Indiana that year, so everybody's feeling good about the momentum going into year 2. And so Coach Bud's year 2 would be my year 1.
Gotcha, yep.
And that first year, we won 60 games.
Yeah, I remember that. Y'all killed that year.
Yeah, so I walked in and was like, yeah, I'm a good coach.
Yeah, I'm good. 60
I helped
wins.
us win 60.
What's up? The rates just went up. Call my agent. You see them stats, baby.
You see me at the All-Star game talking to Melo? I was trying to tell Melo exactly where to go.
Oh, my God. Oh, Melo got traded to you, right?
No, he didn't get traded to us. That year, I think Melo actually got hurt shortly after the All-Star game.
Okay.
And he was still here in New York.
Okay, because he got traded to you for Atlanta.
Yes.
For 32
you
seconds.
Are right. You are right about
32
that.
seconds.
When was that? Was probably our last year in Atlanta.
Uh-huh.
When we had the kind of like rebuild going on.
Yep, that's hilarious. I remember that. Okay, so now you did extremely well. You coached in the All-Star game.
Yes.
How was that experience?
Unbelievable. And it was here in Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, I don't know, you know, like life kind of brings you full circle and all that stuff. So like being in Atlanta down south, a little bit further from family and friends, and getting to come back up north to New York, being closer to the East Coast, being closer to DMV, seeing my family, remembering living here for 2 years when I was working on Wall Street, and like, it was dope, man.
What was the energy? Because at this time, and we still should, and I'll ask you this.
Yeah.
New York is considered the Mecca of basketball, right? And you played actually you split Madison Square Garden and
Barclays was right? The Rising Stars Challenge and the dunk contest.
But the money was at Madison Square Garden. No disrespect to the Rising Stars and the dunk contest and all that other stuff. But how was that synergy being a coach in New York, All-Star Weekend, all of those stars here in the Mecca of basketball?
It's one of those experiences where words don't do it justice, because when you're in the moment and you're just trying to soak it all up and take it all in, you're actually kind of like speechless. And it doesn't happen very often. Like being a coach in the NBA, like we play LeBron and you play Giannis, and I work with Giannis now, so I know these mega stars, and for the first time, I felt like I was in a moment of like,
shit was kind of surreal.
Yeah. Like nostalgia, and but it was. I'm very thankful for that experience, and then to be able to do it 2 times now.
Wow, that's crazy.
You know, feel like a boss a little bit.
Relax. Relax. No, that's really like I don't know. Cause I remember I screenshot the TV. I was like, oh shit, look at Charles on the thing. And I think I might have texted you like, yo.
Yes.
Like that.
Cause my kids, the same thing. Like my mother-in-law was at home watching the game. Cause do you remember that year too? It was so cold here.
Every year.
Well, yeah, very true. But like the wind chill was so bad, they were saying like kids and senior citizens shouldn't go outside. And I had I guess at the time she might have been 1 or 2, my oldest daughter, and we brought her with her to like enjoy the whole experience with her. It was so cold we couldn't go anywhere. So we asked my mother-in-law to come pick her up. And anyway, they screenshotted the TV too, and she's like kissing this TV screen.
It felt like I made it. I'm calling friends that we have mutual friends like, yo, look at Charles on TV. They introducing him as all-star coach. And you turn around and you look at the screen like you've been there before. Like, knock it off. You fronting. All right, so now you're this. How do I say this? You fell into a great situation with that guy from that tall guy from Greece. What's his name?
Oh, Giannis.
Yeah. He's the MVP.
Yeah.
The reigning MVP of the NBA. How was it? Because you, again, part of player development. You were there when he came in as raw as sushi, and not that he's a work of art right now. He's still a work in progress. But you've seen a transition from sushi to where he is now.
To one of the specialty rolls, like now we
tuna roll. That's a tuna roll. He was just fish before, but now he's defining his game and actually getting better.
Yeah.
How has that transition been for you? And obviously, there's a feather in your cap also.
Oh, definitely. I think we too can't lose sight. Like the staff before us that came, I think did wonders with them.
That's J. Kidd.
Yep, J. Kidd and the staff. They kind of got the ball rolling and instilled some things in him that are still apparent now that have helped him be the player that he is now. But even from my year one with him to now seeing him in year two, to the growth that he has is like not by accident.
Right.
And there's a lot of guys that talk about how great they want to be, but the action they put behind it isn't always there.
Right.
If you really work with them on a daily basis. This guy comes in every day, laser focused, like it's game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals for an individual workout versus a video room player that might have played at the smallest school that you could think of.
Right.
And he's like, I'm going to take this guy's head off. And I'm like,
yo, chill.
Yeah, like, you're the MVP and he's a video intern. But like, the only way he feels like he's ever going to get anything out of a workout session is to go hard. And it's cool to see because if the MVP is going to be like that,
oh, it's trickle down.
Trickle down.
Trickle down.
So like the whole rest of the team, they come out for their workouts. It's the same focus, and he's a big reason why we've been able to build the culture that we have in Milwaukee so quickly.
No, he's off the charts. I seen his workout. I seen a video of it.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to be in a position to see it live. One time he came to the Garden.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, he's going too hard. Like, relax.
So, as a coach, you got to be, you're, especially in this day and age of load management. And you're always worried a little bit about, okay, well, we practiced yesterday, Giannis. Like, this is just a pregame workout. You just need to get a little glaze.
Right, get a little sweat, get a little misty, and get some shots up and get up out of there.
No. With him, it's not like that. So you are kind of sitting there as the coach, dang, you're wearing yourself out, relax.
Right,
but
chill.
It's what helps him kind of like just rev that engine up.
Yeah, and his engine revved up helped you guys get to the Eastern Conference Finals. You ran into a buzzsaw though.
Yeah,
that was, they were able to use what he couldn't do to their benefit.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
I give them a lot of credit because they figured out, I think, the best ways to attack us on both ends of the court. On top of that, though, I say that we, ourselves as Milwaukee, this was like a learning experience for our fairly young group in that type of environment, in that type of situation. A lot of those guys that we had last year hadn't even been out the first round of the playoffs.
Oh, no, I know.
So for them to get there,
to see it, taste it, right?
All that, like, and we were up 2-0.
Yeah.
So like that taste in your mouth of like, you're up 2-0 with home court advantage, feeling kind of good. And not kind of good where you're just going to let your guards down. But they just elevated their game to another level for those last 4 games, which was very impressive, which is why you got to give them credit.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
But I think in the offseason, all of our guys looked at it as like, it sucks we lost,
right?
But like, it's a learning experience.
Yeah, that L was really a lesson.
Yes.
Not a loss.
Yes.
I'm old, so I remember the Milwaukee Bucks team from 83, 84, 85, that era.
Oh, yeah.
I'm old. That team was low, and they played at the Mecca. They played at the Mecca. A friend of mine actually has a court in his house, up like a picture.
Oh, wow.
Like,
I think that 2 years ago they played a game at the old Mecca.
Oh, yeah.
And like the old school jerseys, too.
Dave, did they film play a game at the old school Mecca? Because he's the one that has it.
He's the one that has it. They did, didn't they? Or no? You know what they did? They used the Mecca floor.
They used
there
the
it
court
is. There it is.
In the Bradley Center, or not the Bradley Center, but in the Fiserv.
Yeah, Bradley.
Was it the
Bradley Center? Yeah.
Oh, they went back to Bradley?
So we had the Fiserv. This is only the second year of the Fiserv. So the year before I got to Milwaukee, Bradley Center was still open, or BMO Harris Bank.
Or they bought it out, but they were still at Bradley Center.
Yes.
Okay, I only been there one time, and I played like in a hoop it up 3-on-3 on those streets right behind Bradley Center. That was fun as hell. We got to ask people.
Wait till you come back. Now that's not even there. They got a Punch Bowl social out there now.
Really?
Like, yeah.
See, I'm old.
See, but you won't even come visit your boy in Milwaukee.
I will now. I have 2 reasons to go out there now.
Yeah, me and Dave.
You and Dave, you and Mr. Marshall, the Marshall plan. You're gonna make a video there, Dave. Congratulations. So now, what's next for you? Cause I know that you're. I seen a list. I don't know if I shared this with you. There's a list of up and coming coaches. You're teetering on, still receive votes on the bottom.
Yeah. Honorable mention.
You're on that list. You're on that list. What's next for you? I know that Buck is doing a great job as far as mentoring you, and obviously he wants his tree. I'm sure at some point when it's time for you to kick you out and get out there and fly on your own. Is that something on the horizon?
For sure. When I got into coaching, I wanted to be able to impact players, kids, men's lives. I think on the court and also off the court, like part of like the whole player development thing isn't just on the court. It's like this holistic view of how can I just help you be the best person as possible.
Right.
And to be able to run your own team, be in charge of the organization and help build a culture and help just continue to impact a bunch of lives, I'd love to be a head coach. And I've gotten great mentorship. I've had an opportunity to learn under some great assistant coaches since I've been at Bucknell, since I've been in Atlanta, since I've been in Milwaukee, and some of those guys are now head coaches. And so I think a lot of it's a credit to Paulson, a credit to Coach Budenholzer. Even like you date back to when I was a player, like being at Bucknell and Coach Flannery and his staff, and like busting your ass on Saturdays, but you still giving me some advice every now and then when we were on the same team. Literally, you take all those experiences and all that kind of like mentorship, and it helps you be a coach. But the goal is to be a head coach.
That's good.
But there's no hurry either. Like I just want to be as good as I possibly can in the role that I'm in, and whatever God has in store.
Any chance of going back to college?
That's the more I'm in the NBA.
Yeah.
I love what it all encompasses. Like not as much recruiting.
What do you mean not as much? None.
Well, no, because like you still got free agency.
You got a brick line, man. You got to go to the pomp and circumstance at dinner.
And I still got to go to dinners and things of that nature. And like you go through the draft process, and you have dinners with the draft kids and the workout. So it's a lot.
Right.
I think both sides.
You're not in the gym looking at the 13-year-old, 14-year-old kid that you don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
You're looking at an established NBA player and then trying to get him to play for you.
Exactly. And then when practice is over, I can go enjoy my family sometimes, whereas in college, you got to get on the phone and start busting it down and getting as many recruits as you possibly can to come on visits and stuff. So both arenas are good, college and NBA. For me, though, I'm leaning way more to the NBA side of things.
So what I'm hearing is sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Oh, that's everything.
That's everything, right?
Yeah.
What would you recommend, like Coach did for you at Bucknell? Email, reach out to everyone. Now it's Twitter and also IG, go in their DMs, whatever the case may be, right?
For sure.
What would you recommend for the next generation of coaches coming up? How would they get on? Because it seems like, for me, from the standpoint, a lot of people are taking a different route and going video coordinator, dobos. This is the collegiate level. Dobos, video coordinators, and or managers, and or some player development. How do you get into that world?
Yeah. Number one, I would just say there's a million different ways to do it. Like you kind of just pointed that out. You can go video, dobo, grad assistant. There's so many routes to go. So whatever you feel like your niche is or whatever is most comfortable or makes the most sense in your life, you got to kind of just figure that out. But the biggest thing is you have to have some action to go make this thing happen.
Right.
And the action has to be either you're going to go work. So like I worked a hoop group camp as a counselor or I don't know if they call me a counselor or whatever I was.
Station manager.
I was helping at a hoop group event to try to get some more exposure to college coaches because I know if I'm at the hoop group event, I'm refereeing this game or I'm running the table at this game. There's going to be Towson coach is going to come up and say, hey, do you have the list for the game going on here? And then I get to say, hey, I'm Charles Lee, this, that, and the other.
And but yes, I do. Here it is. Right
here you go. And can I get your business card as well? So you have to be ready to network because to your point of sometimes not what you know is who you know. You have to network and just help people see what you have to offer.
Right.
Because I know I've heard of some people, they'll get online and they will clip into gameplays from college games,
Mm-hmm.
side out of bounds plays
Mm-hmm.
from NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here's all of Brad Stevens stuff. And they'll send it out, send it out to every coach in college basketball.
I respect that. So now they
10 coaches might hit you back and be like, wow, you have a good vision for
Right.
this. Like, and now you've made a relationship.
Yeah.
And so I know this is a long-winded answer.
No.
There's a bunch of different ways, but like you just need to get yourself out there, go
Right.
work a camp, reach out to the people
Be
that
seen.
recruited you, be seen, get some exposure. It's not just gonna happen though.
Right.
Sitting on your duff
Mm-hmm.
and hoping
I
it.
can say that. He's political. He's trying to get an NBA job. He can't.
Sure.
He can't cuss.
LinkedIn, I think people are using that more too.
Yeah, I got to get back on LinkedIn.
I know some people love LinkedIn.
Crapping. I've been BSing with that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Any parting words? Where can people find you on their socials?
So social media, I do a little bit of Instagram, but like it's really just my fam on Instagram. I'm on Twitter, but I use it really just to get updates.
He's spying.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just like,
He's spying.
what's going on in the world? Keep me abreast to something else outside of NBA basketball.
Yeah, and you need that.
You do. You need a release. Like life is balanced.
Yeah.
Like, I can't live in the gym all day. Can't hang with the fam all day. You need a little bit of release.
I'm trying to change my algorithm on my Instagram. I'm trying to start following people. that
You
build
personally are gonna change the algorithm?
Yeah,
Because you don't know the damn equation to the
No,
algorithm.
I do. I got it. So I'm gonna stop following basketball people.
Okay.
Start following people that do fashion. Then I'm gonna end up in the fashion world. And
Interesting.
just cut up.
And then now it's gonna say because you follow this fashion head, you should look
now I'm
at this
looking
stuff.
at Mark, whoever.
Huh.
I'm gonna change my algorithm.
I like it.
Yeah. Come on to my
Well,
world.
you know, one of the things I'm trying to get myself into now.
What?
You like wine?
No, I don't do nothing. I have no life. Vegan, no liquor, nothing.
Oh my god.
So you're into wine?
We got to do this again, and I'm gonna bring a couple bottles of wine, and we're gonna start doing tasting. I'm gonna get you on some Cab, some Pinot. Jeez.
Nope. And no cheese neither, so I'm good. So that's good. I'm boring.
Oh man.
This is it.
Mark,
But what
this
about
might be
wine?
our last podcast then.
Maybe, but what do you want to do with wine?
Well, no, just with wine, I've enjoyed like learning about it and tasting it and going to
swishing in
travel.
your mouth and all that?
No, you got to go to Napa. You got to do a tour, see how they make it, figure out the process. It's good with food. Figure out what pairs well with what.
Yeah, I'm glad you said
Like we're about
that.
to be in Paris. What, in a week or so?
Who, the Bucks?
Yeah, the Bucks. We play Charlotte in Paris. Like
You know, whip their ass in Paris and you could do it.
It's one of those NBA World Games.
Nah, go get it.
But I'm like, we're gonna try to find some time on this trip to go to Champagne, to go somewhere and like learn about the spirits. I've kind of grown into that, food and spirits.
Steak goes with red, right?
Yes, there you go.
Fish goes with white. Right?
You're right.
I'm a cultured person. I can sit there and have a conversation
But
with
the
somebody.
problem is, I think that you would go get the wine right now from like a Walgreens or a little bodega on the side. I'm not drinking that.
Nah, you're right. So if I come to your house for a gift, you're getting like barefoot.
Oh man, you must give me some Franzia, the box wine. And you know the first thing, this might be bad, people, but the first thing I'm gonna do when you give me that wine, there's this app called Vivino, and I'm gonna shoot the label. If it comes up with anything less than 3 stars or is under $5, I might just drop that thing right over in the recycling bin.
Just give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Go to somebody else and give it to her.
I'm not re-gifting that. That's embarrassing.
Not a non-drink. I don't know anything about that stuff. Anyway, this is Charles Lee. I'm Mark Williams. This is the MECCA podcast. We out of here. Again, he is an assistant coach at an NBA program. Pretty good NBA team, too.
Not bad.
I got you guys winning the East.
I hope you see us in like May and June, and I hope we're still playing.
I got you coming out of the East.
Well, I appreciate it. There's a lot of basketball to be played. We got to stay healthy. We got to get better.
Yeah.
A lot of things got to happen.
Yeah.
But we're going to keep working.
Yeah.
And that's for everybody.
Yeah.
People trying to be aspiring coaches, we all got to work. I think that's the thing I would just...
That's the parting
Leave,
shot.
yeah.
Parting shot. Keep working. But you want me to tell you what I got you coming out of the East, doesn't it?
Versus who you got needs?
Oh, you versus the Sixers.
Versus Sixers.
And you versus Sixers. You want the outcome?
Mm-hmm.
I think you. It's gonna be a good series.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good
seven.
series.
It's going to 7.
It's going to 7. You'll have home court. You'll get them in the chip. The chip is gonna be that's gonna be a good one.
Who you got coming out the West?
When is this airing? This is gonna air in February, March. I got
You want to dig himself a hole?
I got the Lakers.
Okay.
I got the Lakers.
Okay.
It's gonna be a good series.
You have anything? I know we already jumped past this point, but you got anything big happening during the trade deadline? Any major moves gonna be made for these teams trying to like make the playoffs or teams trying to rebuild?
Yeah, I think Drummond gets moved.
Okay.
To where I don't know. I know that he gets moved.
Okay.
Detroit is they're in a rebuilding stage. They're rebuilding. You can't say none of this. This is all me.
That's why I'm
This
just
is
asking
Mark
the questions
Williams.
now. I'm not saying a word.
Detroit's in a building stage. They're going to have to do a fire sale at some point, get that salary cap down. The Lakers are still a player away, I think, from really taking over the West. You may be a player away also.
What position would you say we're a player?
I think you need a Kyle Silvers, right?
Yep, Corbin.
I think you need another wet.
Okay.
I think you need another wet.
Doesn't hurt when you got a guy like Giannis is able to get a piece of the paint.
Yeah, because that's what happened to you last year. You guys had everybody and their mother was in the paint. They was all here, and he was making his moves because he's not. No disrespect to him.
Yeah.
Work on his handle. He's not as shifty. He's going to go hard this way and spin back that way, and he's just so long. He's going to dunk it. So everyone's in the paint.
Mm-hmm.
He's not. He's kicking it now. It's easy to kick it to Kyle and to kick it to a JJ. I'm just using names like
For sure.
That's wet. And got to make you guys more potent.
I agree.
That's just my take on it. I'm just a regular trainer, just doing a podcast.
Nah,
But you didn't bust my ass all the time.
you got me 1 or 2 plays.
Yeah,
I
wasn't. I can carry a game.
Not a game.
Not a
Exactly.
game.
Yeah,
You just play too damn hard. Like,
Yeah.
relax. This is pickup.
That's all I know. That's all I know.
Trying to go home.
I know. Saturday morning, half the people were hungover. Or
It's like, I had to get up at 6. I
Exactly.
live in Queens, so I had to get out there to Manhattan. I had to get up at 6.
That's a heck of a drive.
Oh my
I'll
God.
never forget that school down on Wall Street.
In Wall Street, yeah. Right.
Those are the days, man.
Fun
And you
time.
still not aging.
No, I got grays. Yeah, I got a gray right here. I just seen it this morning.
No, you still looking good, bro.
No. The MECCA Podcast, we out.
Thank you,
Charles
man.
Lee. Thank you, man. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Anytime.
We out.